This is KGW News at noon.
Thank you for joining us this noon. I'm Nina Melhoff in for Brenda today, and this is, of course, a huge week for our country. Tomorrow is Election Day. Decision 2020 is winding down, and today will be a busy one for both presidential candidates. President Trump started with a midnight rally before flying to 4 different states today. Joe Biden is concentrating on one very important battleground state. Tracy Potts has a look at this last full day of campaigning.
Stage construction is underway at the Chase Center in Wilmington, Delaware, Joe Biden's election night headquarters. At the Charcoal Pit, one of his local hangouts.
People person, loves walking around, talking to people, loves taking pictures.
We found Biden and Trump supporters planning to vote tomorrow.
I want to go vote in person. I want to know that my vote was counted.
On this last full day before polls open, Biden is back in nearby Pennsylvania.
President Trump is terrified of what will happen in Pennsylvania. He knows that the people of Pennsylvania get to have their say. If you have your say, he doesn't stand a chance.
4 years ago, President Trump won Pennsylvania by the narrowest margin there in nearly 2 centuries. State officials predict the vote count could take days.
Nearly 2.4 million Pennsylvanians have already cast their ballots by mail. This is going to be 10 times as many as the last time we had a presidential election in Pennsylvania.
President Trump starting in Florida this morning and visiting 4 more states today, including Biden's birthplace, Scranton, Pennsylvania, plus 2 stops in Michigan.
2 days from now, we are going to win the state of Michigan again.
It's his 4th trip there in a week.
Over the last 4 years, I fought for Michigan like no one has ever fought for Michigan.
4 years ago, he narrowly won Michigan, but a narrow win is a win. The president once again counting on the unexpected.
Unexpected because our last look at this election before the polls open, our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows Joe Biden with a 10-point national lead. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
I want to be very, very clear that voter intimidation and political violence will not be tolerated. Not from the left, not from the right, and not from the center. Not this week, not any week in Oregon.
That's Governor Kate Brown and law enforcement across the state talking about gearing up for what could be a heated election week. Less than 24 hours out, she announced her executive order to help keep the peace. Oregon State Police and the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office will be in charge of public safety to address potential violence in Portland this week. The Oregon National Guard will also be on standby and can be called up to help if necessary.
We know that there are some people who might want to use peaceful election night protests to promote violence and property destruction. That behavior is not acceptable, and it's not in line with our Oregon values of being an inclusive democracy.
Her executive order also means that law enforcement, including Portland police, will be allowed to use tear gas in Portland if necessary at the discretion of state police or the sheriff's office. They say the goal is to use no force at all and to keep the peace. Well, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler saying he supports this move by the governor, saying the partnership has prevented violence in the past and hopes it'll do so again. He added, we should all be prepared for delayed results from the election, and I urge everyone to focus on staying safe during this most important election. Well, you do have until 8 p.m. tomorrow night to drop off your ballot at an official drop-off site. It's too late to mail it in Oregon. In Washington, your ballot only has to be postmarked by tomorrow. You can also drop it off at a ballot box until 8 p.m. And here is our schedule tomorrow night. We're going to have extensive coverage. First on Sunrise, our political analyst Len Bergstein will be live with us talking about Election Day and his latest projections. Then NBC News coverage starts at 4 o'clock tomorrow. We will bring you local election updates every half hour. Plus, from 7:30 to 9:30, we'll be going digital, streaming continuously on KGW's sub-channel, the True Crime Network. We'll also be streaming on our website, our app, YouTube, and our social pages. Then join us at 11 o'clock for local news and up-to-the-minute election results. A memorial continues to grow at a U.S. bank in Hazeldale, where deputies shot and killed a 21-year-old black man last Thursday. Hundreds of people gathered over the weekend to remember Kevin Peterson and demand accountability from the Clark County Sheriff's Office. What happened in the moments before the shooting still isn't clear. The sheriff says Peterson was shot and killed after he ran from deputies and there was an exchange of gunfire. But the Southwest Washington Independent Investigative Response Team did not say whether Peterson fired a weapon or not. It did say, though, he was armed. Now the community wants answers about what actually happened that night.
We need justice, and we need our kids to be treated fairly. We need equity, and we need equality.
We are still waiting to get another update on this case. We know that all of the deputies involved in Kevin Peterson's death are on administrative leave, which is standard protocol. Well, Saturday night, about 300 protesters ended up at Vancouver's Esther Short Park. As the group started marching toward downtown Vancouver, they blocked traffic and started destroying property. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, police ordered the group to leave, and they arrested 6 people in the process. In a statement released last night, the Vancouver chapter of the NAACP condemned that violence, saying in part, "We want to make it abundantly clear that your non-peaceful behavior is totally against our values as an organization and as Black citizens of Vancouver." Turning now to the coronavirus pandemic, and new numbers are out today from the Oregon Health Authority. 1 more person has died, bringing the state's death toll to 692. 557 new cases are being reported today. They reported 524 yesterday. Statewide, we've had more than 45,000. You can see those case numbers have been steadily rising since mid-September. Also happening today, some licensed nursing homes have started allowing indoor visits for families. Only outdoor visits were allowed this summer. But as reunions happen, there are limitations. KGW's Bryant Clerkley has more.
Nursing homes had to turn in their safety plans to the state, and they can't have any suspected positive COVID-19 cases. The counties where facilities are must also maintain below a 10% COVID positivity rate. Last week, Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas counties listed their positivity rates at 7.5%. The policy also details visitor screening protocols and disinfecting requirements, including keeping visits to a designated area, not the residents' rooms, staggering visits so there is only 1 group at a time, limiting the number of visitors to 2 per resident, and setting time limits. Matt Ryan is general manager of the Ackerley at Timberland, a senior living community in Portland. He says they've been planning this for a while.
Face shield and also a KN95 mask, a dedicated area that is sectioned off in the main lobby area.
For more information on all these guidelines, we have a full list on our website, kgw.com. In Portland, I'm Bryant Clerkley, KGW News.
Well, even with the recent surges in cases, Governor Kate Brown loosened the state's COVID metrics for schools. She announced that Friday. Those new rules make it easier to bring kids back into the classroom. It could affect 130,000 or 23% of school-age kids in the state. So here's the map. 15 counties in light blue immediately qualify to start in-person classes for kindergarten through 12th grade. Another 9 counties in that dark blue or black color on the map can start kindergarten through 6th grade. The ones in the middle gray color, including Multnomah, Washington, Marion counties, which have the largest districts in the state, they do not qualify yet to reopen. Just because those districts can reopen doesn't mean they have to.